Hello, it's me on this wet and windy Monday morning. So, good police officers, bad police officers, real police officers, pretend police officers, plastic police officers, whatever you want to call them. But the PCSO, it seems, is here to stay. And I'm not sure I'm happy with that, frankly. Policing is a difficult job. I've described it previously as a glorious burden. You have to be the best person to wield that authority in very difficult circumstances. And that's a tough thing. It's tough to be continually good, continually proportionate, and continually professional. We've seen many examples of unprofessionalism where the police are concerned. I've been mostly amazed at how often a police officer is uninformed as to his own role when carrying out his duties. That's quite a shock for me. A police officer should have full knowledge of the facts pertaining to any incident that he's attending. Full knowledge. But there are all kinds of grey areas. There are all kinds of caveats and all kinds of shenanigans behind the scenes that have seen police forces go from what they were 40 years ago to this current iteration where we see an increasingly militarized police force who have less regard, it seems, for the letter of the law and their interpretation of the law as they see it when they attend. Has that always been the case? Or were police officers in the past better informed? Increasingly, we see police officers being called to help bailiffs in apparent incidences of TV licence dodging. And this is a civil matter, not a matter for the police, and yet they're called routinely, and they do things that some people would say are questionable. And then on top of all this mess, we have the PCSO. A pretend policeman, a kind of policeman, a facsimile of a policeman, meant to support police officers, but frequently we see them policing. Now, there are good and bad people everywhere. And being a PCSO is no different. There are cases where PCSOs have overstepped the mark on many occasions. And then there are other instances of PCSOs doing great community work, which I believe is supposed to be their role. They're supposed to be community liaisons in some way, taking the role that the real police officers can no longer do because the areas they cover are so vast. But all too often we see personal pride, ego step in. When you get PCSOs who effectively control an area, if that's even a thing, then the confidence is built. And they become more and more seated in a community. And they, like everyone else, are just subject to the foibles of personality and desire. And that's not a good combination in a person who's meant to be there in a pseudo-policing state or fashion. In my opinion, there is no substitute for a real police officer. I think the centralisation of policing in the UK has been an absolute disaster, and the move away from community policing has just left so many communities poorer. I stated in a previous video here on Media Mongrel that police stations used to be a place of refuge. And now they just look like partially staffed fortresses. They are some seriously unwelcoming buildings. And when you turn up, you go to the desk, you're never met with a smile. It's not community policing. It's defensive policing. And that has made the police force poorer. There's a piece of footage from the US where they filmed a briefing before a shift, where a large proportion of that particular police force for that county were ex-military. And the police chief who was given the briefing, or the sergeant, said, when you go out there today, you have to watch out for the enemy. And he kept referring to the enemy. And it took me a moment, but he was referring to the citizens of that county. I saw that bit of footage years and years ago. And it's really stayed with me. Because that's where we are here in the UK now. Seems like we're the enemy. And these PCSOs have to step into those communities where the theme is that we, the citizen, are the enemy, not to be trusted under any circumstances, guilty until proven innocent. And that's a problem. We're in a pickle here in the UK. Make no mistake about it. Being a police officer is a tough job. Police officers need to be supported. They need to be told they're good enough, but only after they've been made good enough. We need to dispense with PCSOs, and we need more real police officers on the street. Oh, money, budgets, there's more than enough money. Black holes be fucked. We're being taken for a ride by our politicians. And this 30-year program of intentional decline by our political classes is leading us down a cul-de-sac of further corruption and criminality from the very top to the very bottom. These auditing channels don't spring up out of nowhere. People understand when things are going wrong, and some people decide that they're going to act on that. And so they start filming. And you have to be fearless. People go on about auditors. Oh, auditors, they're just, they're just on an ego trip. Well, good. Because if they find corruption somewhere, anywhere, and they can illustrate that corruption and make that person who is committing that corruption, regardless of their station in life, face some consequences for that malact, then good. Finally, yay for the great police officers out there who are doing great work. And for all the others who aren't, boo. Do let me know what you think in the comments below. Do like, subscribe and share. It really does help the channel. And until next time, this is me signing off. Do look after yourselves.